come for a walk and the there's a manic raven greeting me. I'm convinced they wait for me to arrive there. However, I came for a walk the other day, earlier this week, and I've been thinking about these ravens that I talk to. They've been kind of inspiring a story, and the story's been building over the year or so. I actually got a kind of idea for an opening line earlier this week, and I came home and I actually sat down and wrote it out. I'm not going to tell you because that would partly give the whole thing away. That's kind of how things start, I suppose. You get ideas and they just won't leave you. Sometimes you get brilliant ideas and they just fade away like butterflies. And some things just stick with you, and they grow and they grow and they grow until there comes a point where you think, time to do something about this. And so writing the first 3 or 4 lines is a start. And I think I've talked about ideas before. How I think ideas aren't things that you have. Ideas are things that strike you, pow! And they are individual energy life forms of their own, and hovering around just looking for the right person on the right wavelength to work with. And this idea is coming together. I need to tune in a bit more. Every now and then I kind of tune out and to keep tuning back in again to remain on the same frequency as this idea. And then you actually need to sit down, stick your bum on the seat, stay there and write the darn thing. I just had an idea for a new slogan for the Shoo Rayner drawing channel. Drawing on life, drawing on paper. Which covers the 2 kind of things that I'd like to do, really, and expands the channel out. I'm out of breath just being going up a hill. And while I'm at it, if you are not subscribed to the Shoo Rayner drawing channel, then click down here and make sure you are. And when you do, ring that little bell and you'll have notifications. And if you don't get notifications, go to your settings and make sure that you do, so you know every time I upload a new video. I'm halfway around my walk, so it's time to have a little breather. There's an aeroplane coming overhead. I had quite a lot of interesting questions yesterday, so let's not talk about it. Let's answer them. So here are some comments. Here are comments from yesterday. Elizabeth Roberts, are you going to be rich and famous? No, ha ha ha, this is amazing. Dean Riser, keep coming back, love your videos. Writing, illustrating children's books too. Find your videos very inspiring. Thank you, thank you. Sonia F has asked me several questions. What happens if you don't meet your target on Kickstarter? What happens to that book? Wish you the very best with this book. Special delivery. Always find it you have to say interesting. That's a great question, Sonia. The thing about Kickstarter is if you don't meet the target, you don't get the cash. So there's a lot of things to think about when you do a Kickstarter. You have to think kind of what is the minimum amount that you really need to do the project and to make it sort of worthwhile your time, and then go for that, really. If you kind of think, oh, it'd be really nice to have a huge amount of money, then chances are you're not going to get it, and if you don't meet the target, then you'll not get the amount that you have raised. So that would be really frustrating. Yeah, so there's a lot of kind of things to think about, and there's a lot of kind of marketing things to think about, how you're going to reach people. Do you do Facebook ads? There's a whole lot of stuff to learn there. Do you get somebody in to help you? I don't think I'm quite ready for that at the moment, but basically the question is, if you don't reach your target, you don't get the cash. BLA Dios says, I have a question. When illustrating a child's book, how big do you choose your watercolour paper to be? I've been asked to give it a go. The person who's wanting a 15 by 18.5 watercolour said that she can size it without losing detail. I'm green to anything about illustrating. Was just wondering how you would go about this, dimension-wise, that is. She wants full pages, loads of detail. Thank you. You're making it sound like she's very demanding. I think when you're starting out as an illustrator, you just don't know, do you? And it sounds to me like this is a self-published thing, and it's someone who has written a book and wants to get it published, and sometimes, I don't know, I see people on children's book websites and Facebook pages, and they're kind of really irritated with these blessed illustrators that you kind of got to have an illustrator, and what, you know, and, yeah. So I think the relationship, like what used to happen in the old days was the author would write a story, they'd send it to the publisher would choose the illustrator that they think suited the book, and then very often the author and the illustrator would never meet, and they certainly wouldn't sort of talk about the work and discuss it, and certainly the illustrator wouldn't expect instructions from the author. But with sort of self-publishing, it's become much easier, and now so illustrators, it's tricky. You know, if you want the work, you've got to do what you're asked to do, really. And so, if you've been told those are the dimensions, those are the dimensions. Make sure you have a contract. Make sure you have a contract with these people, and make sure you get paid. Tintin 01. So I got my exam results today. I got what I needed to get into the Glasgow School of Art. Well done. You were a great inspiration in getting to it, and I really hope you keep creating videos to inspire the next group of young people into art college, art school, art college. Thanks, Shoo. Well, thank you, Tintin 01. And congratulations, and have a fantastic time there. It's a shame half of it burned down, but I think they'll be rebuilding it around you while you are there. Have a fantastic time and be great. One-time thing, okay. Well done finishing the book. This was my favourite illustration of all of them. So cute. I love hearing your inside stories from the publishing world. Good luck at Edinburgh. Thank you. Shoo, I love your videos. How do you scan your artwork? Do you use a professional print shop, or do you have your own scanner? If so, which scanner do you use? I use a Canon Leader 220. And I've used lots of scanners in my time, and it's only A4, so sometimes I have to stitch things together. But I really like it. And scanning there's a real art to it, and I do mean an art. So it's not just about sticking it in and hoping for the best. You kind of have to sense what you're doing. Beadmark says, so cute. I love you for always inspiring us to draw, sharing your work process. Your voice is so soothing. Thank you. I'm going to do a plug for Patreon here. I uploaded today, actually, a 1 hour and 8 minute video of me just talking. I was sent some interview questions to talk about the influence of classical myths, ancient Greece and stuff like that in my work. From an academic professor in Australia, and there's a big international project going on about sort of myths and stuff like that. And she kind of come across my books, and I really sort of wanted to know more, and so she asked me these questions, and I did the answers as a video. And if you're on the illustrator level on Patreon, you can just sit and wallow in 1 hour and 8 minutes of me talking about classical antiquity and philosophy and animism, all sorts of weird stuff. Amy Salmon says, congratulations, looking forward to whatever you do next. Ugly Grindstaff says, crikey, I wouldn't touch Brexit as a subject with a 10-foot pole. Stick to something relatively safe, like the socio-political situation in the Middle East. I think you're absolutely right. I agree. And I'm going to make a video, I think, about the curse of imagination. And Nancy says, a book about Brexit would be fantastic. Congratulations on finishing this book. I'm looking forward to Kickstarter on it. Here's my question of the day. Nancy asked me lots of questions. Thank you, Nancy. What is the most challenging part of what you do? To me, you're very unique as you write and illustrate your own work. This means you have all the artistic control, but with that, there must be unique challenges. As always, thanks for the video fun. Having total artistic control isn't always a good idea. I remember earlier this year we had the Eurovision Song Contest, which we all, well, some of us watch avidly in the UK. And each country around Europe, and now Australia for some reason, send a singer along, and they all do their thing. And the big sort of mid-contest performance thing, entertainment, was under wraps. It was really, really secret. And who should burst on the stage but Madonna?
and so it was all completely secret, this thing. She obviously had total artistic control, and it was a disaster. And she got completely the wrong audience. None of them were really interested in her being there. And what she did is not, she was in the completely wrong place. And that's where total artistic control can go completely wrong. And you do need checks and balances, I think. As an author, I think there has always been this terrible thing called, vanity publishing. And I'm a proper author because I'm published by a proper publisher, and they publish their own books, so that's vanity publishing, and that has all changed completely. But there's always been this thing that I've been brought up with, like vanity publishing is wrong, and publishing it yourself is wrong, and so often vanity publishing, the artwork is bad, the typesetting is bad. The spelling hasn't been checked. An editor hasn't been anywhere near it. I have that ingrained in me. And so I do keep asking, like I asked myself at the beginning of this special delivery kind of thing, is this a vanity project? And in the end, I decided, yes, it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. So just go ahead and enjoy it. And that's what it is. As I've been progressing, I'm thinking, actually, no, that this is actually something different, and getting new ideas. But by starting and getting the thing going, that the new ideas come. And by constantly working on something, ideas come, and you have to be kind of flexible and allow ideas in, and be prepared to change as you go along. Sometimes I've had editors. I've had 2 editors that I can think of who, it would be really cruel to say were in the wrong job, because I don't think they were, but I think we were badly matched, and one, I just didn't get on with them, actually, and I would just have to keep smiling and thinking that's wrong, and be polite, just to get through the day, and they moved on, thankfully. At the same time, I've had the most brilliant editors, and they are a shoulder to cry on, someone to listen to your ideas and bounce them back to you. And I think when you are working on your own and publishing yourself, then it is tricky. You have to know when to discuss things, and I think being on YouTube and Patreon as well, so I'm quite confessional, I think, on Patreon. My patrons will let me know. So I think trying things out like that, I think not setting things in stone. I think if you sort of set a piece of, this is a piece of art, this is how it is, I think you have to be prepared to change, and to listen to what people think, and and if you think they're wrong, then that's fine. You stand up for what you believe, and sometimes, maybe I did get that wrong, and if you are in, there's these 2 sides of art, aren't there? So there's art with a capital A, in which case you're expressing yourself, and then there's commercial art, which is kind of what I do, and I do what I do to make a living. And so ideally I want the best book that people are going to want to buy. And so it's not so much about me, it's about the customer, it's about the reader. And so, I think maybe, when I left school, I was in printing, and it was all about the customer. And I know, Nancy, you're in hospitality, so it is certainly all about the customer. And so I think, I kind of write for myself, and then I just kind of write the thing and create the thing, and then I go back and edit myself, and I edit with the reader in mind, and I'm thinking, this is for a 7-year-old who has maybe not got such a brilliant use of language or whatever, and maybe this concept's a bit tricky, and can I put this section of turgid text into a picture and things like that. So there's the art, and then there's the customer satisfaction and customer service, I suppose you would call it, in a way. So I think maybe I should talk more about sort of that side of art, because there are these two very, very different kind of sides of art. One where you're expressing yourself, and in doing that, you're allowing people to understand things in themselves through you, so you become a kind of a channel. Or there's the more commercial side of art where you are creating stuff for people, with people in mind. Does that answer your question? I'm sure it'll bring up even more. I can always rely on Nancy for lots of questions. So that's everything for today. Thank you for watching. And if you've got more questions, put them in the box below. And in the meantime, keep watching. Drawing. Practice. That's the secret of it all. And I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye-bye.